I was fortunate enough to be given a tour of the Brooke on Bagley, and this is a development being done by the amazing Cliff Brown of Woodborn Partners. And Cliff is one of the first black developers I was introduced to who's doing larger commercial projects right here in the city of Detroit, which motivated me to level up my game and get into the opportunities that I'm working on now. So, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Flux City Weekly, episode 8. And in this week's episode, we highlight the catch basin work that is happening over on the project in East English Village. This is a pretty major step for us to get to this point where we're doing that sewage work, and we'll kind of show you a little bit of what's happening on site at this point with regard to that work. We're also going to introduce you to Cliff Brown if you haven't been introduced to him before. He's a minority developer here in the city of Detroit, has developed over $150 million in real estate, and this guy is just on a mission. And so we had an opportunity to tour one of his properties via a ULI initiative or program that they set up and gave us the opportunity to actually walk Cliff's site called the Brooke. And we also had a chance to go catch a little bit of golf. Good hit.
This is bounced off this chair.
Right here.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah, boy.
A little bounce.
Okay. Yep. Just go to the outside. Yeah.
Oh, that's juicy.
Wow.
Great shot. Oh, beautiful.
Hey, good, boss. How about you?
I just laying it out. Look at the bottom. What? How far is it up? 8 inches. What happened here is we bought these blank. And so we could put the hole where we needed to.
Got it.
And knew why we bought them blank was they're so far behind on production that you can get simple cores put in this at the factory 6 weeks. So we just cut a hole on site. We know what the city wants on sumps and everything.
It's a 2 foot of sump.
2 foot sump.
The viewers.
And that has no effect on like the integrity of it.
Huh?
That has no effect on the integrity of it.
Not really. They're
Yeah.
so interwound with wire
Yeah.
all the way around it, and we try to find it on the bales and cut through it and break it out. But if we were sitting there pound on it without these cuts, we would weaken it terribly. So the cuts it. We just hit it once with a hammer and it pops out. Then we put cement brick back in around the pipe and we set.
I was fortunate enough to be given a tour of the Brooke on Bagley, and this is a development being done by the amazing Cliff Brown of Woodborn Partners. And Cliff is one of the first Black developers I was introduced to who's doing larger commercial projects right here in the city of Detroit, which motivated me to level up my game and get into the opportunities that I'm working on now. So let's check out what he's been up to.
So I'm Cliff Brown. I'm the president and CEO of Woodborn Holdings, which is a family of companies, which includes Woodborn Partners, which is the development consulting arm, Woodborn Property Management, which is our property management arm, Woodborn Capital, our fundraising arm, and Woodborn Investments, which is our asset management arm. We primarily invest in 5 neighborhoods in the city of Detroit, and we're at about $150 million in development in Detroit's neighborhoods. So that includes Brush Park, Southwest, the Villages, Jefferson Chalmers, and Lafayette Park. We also have active development or pre-development going on in Columbus, Ohio. So we're building a tower in downtown Columbus, Ohio. We're also doing some neighborhood development in Columbus. And then in our consulting work, we're primarily consulting for capital impact partners for the Equitable Development Initiative. We're really trying to, like our focus and our passion outside of development and outside of building lives, communities, and wealth is really the creation of more developers of color and women in development. We really want to serve underserved populations that have not been exposed or have not had the opportunities in development along the entire realm. And so anybody who joins our team is an understanding that at least 30% of your time is focused on bringing the next group up, and it's primarily going to be from those populations. So the Brooke is a 78-unit mixed-use, mixed-income development. It'll include about, where are we at? About 2,000 square feet of retail?
Yep.
We have about 2,000 square feet of retail. Along the back, we'll have about 24 parking spaces, of which it'll provide 8 EV charging stations. We named the building the Brooke after my daughter. And conceptually, the thought was, again, we're in 5 neighborhoods. We understand how to do work in neighborhoods. We also understand that part of our mission is not just to give word of mouth to diversity and development. The fact of the matter is, I'm not the same as Todd Saxey or the Roxbury Group, and so my approach is going to be different. And my approach is going to be informed by who and what I am. And so we try to be intentional about the work that we do. So when we go into a neighborhood, we're very thoughtful about what we name the building, how do we appreciate the culture that we're in without appropriating that culture. And what we found is we really struggled in this neighborhood because I'm not from this neighborhood. My background is different from this neighborhood. So as opposed to finding something from the neighborhood to name the building after. I wanted to name it after something that was very close to my heart as a sign of commitment and honor to the neighborhood. I'm not going to name something after my child, who at the point in time had been through 2 ACL surgeries, and say, hey, I'm going to name this after somebody who I'm extremely close with, and I'm going to disrespect it or disrespect the neighborhood in which it exists. And so, you know, we don't always do a perfect job in terms of our community engagement, but we try to be as honest and authentic as possible in the work that we do. And so, again, a perfect example is we talk about authenticity and community engagement, and then Rico Razzo, who some of you all know, approached me and said, man, that's great, you're intentional about diversity. Is your communication bilingual? And my feelings were hurt, right? Like, the fact of the matter, it wasn't. But we all know that in development, if you want to get anywhere, humility is super important. And so we humbled ourselves and we went back and we talked to Lily, we talked to the team at Scenair, we talked to the team at Pink Teddy, and from that, you know, we did a retail survey with our partners at Scenair who've been they're doing La Jolla, and so I call them our partners because as we've been building this building, they have been wonderful in their communication and working with us to try to make this right, with the SDBA to try to make sure we get this right. And so we worked with Pink Teddy, and so now, not only did we do a retail survey together that was bilingual, but if you go to the brookdetroit.com and you look at our website, you'll see it's also bilingual. And so, and our thought is not just, hey, we don't want to just be bilingual because we're in this neighborhood. We want people to feel comfortable across our entire portfolio. So we're piloting what we're doing here to see how do we, you know, what can we use and how do we use it in the rest of our portfolio, because we don't want to come into quote unquote Mexican town and do something and say, hey, you're welcome to live in our building in Mexican town, but if you go to the Scott or you go to the Cove, you're not welcome there, right? The thought is that you're welcome in any of our buildings and we want you. You're also going to find that with our staff. We work very hard to make sure that our staff comes from this neighborhood, and again, not just our staff here, but our staff across our portfolio. So this capital stack was extremely complicated. We got this site based off of a request for qualification from the city in 2018. We started in 2019, and right before COVID, we got the numbers back and we were $5 million over budget. And so we have just crawled and scraped, and the entire time, Gensel, who is our architect, and Saxy and SME, who have served in numerous hats on this job, have stuck with us, right? Even to the point where it was like, guys, we know we owe you a payment, but we're a little bit late. We're trying to make this work. They've stuck with us. They've helped us to find solutions. We actually took out a chunk of the building, but we got it done. So we take great pride. Capital stack ended up having 12 layers in the sources. That's not including any abatements. That's not including brownfield tip. That is just, you know, senior debt. That's CRP dollars. That's a brownfield grant. That's a brownfield loan. That's an Invest Detroit. On the S&F side, that's a community engagement grant from Invest Detroit. That's a balance sheet loan from Invest Detroit. And again, I can provide you any detail that you want. Again, we have nothing to hide. We're extremely proud and excited about the work that we're doing. What you'll see here are 2 different images of the building. So along Bagley and 16th, you'll see that we have a brick front. And again, you guys are all in the development space, so community doesn't feel they truly understand this, but you guys understand value engineering, right? And so the back of the building is going to be siding. But again, what we don't want to do is, because this is the side that primarily faces the neighborhood, where this is the side that introduces you to the neighborhood, we didn't want to make it seem like a movie set, right? Where you're like, oh, it's super cool on the front, and then they cheaped out on the back end. So we try to be very thoughtful about what we're doing on the back side. And so you'll see as we walk through the building, in the back, there'll be a 2-story terrace. We'll show movies off the back. The space that we're standing in right now is the lobby/lounge. So that steel structure right there will be the entrance. You'll walk in, and as you walk into that side, you'll have offices. You'll have a business center that will be open not just for our residents, but for community organizations. We do ask that they make reservations. It will be completely free. We're just cognizant of the fact that people live here. We don't want to have people walking in and out, but we'll also have the space out back that'll primarily be for our private residences, but we'll identify opportunities when we can open it up for the community, and we're extremely proud of it. We call it the outdoor living room, and so it'll have barbecue pits, it'll have fire pits. Like I said, you'll have EV stations along the back. We are working with the Community Foundation so that this wall right here, which is owned by Verizon, will actually become a mural, and it'll actually be a mural on both sides. Again, it's not about just our development, It's about what we can do for the community. Appreciate Verizon, very thankful for their working with us, but let's be honest, that's an ugly building. And it's not just about, is it ugly for our residents, it's about how do we impact the larger neighborhood. So in the front of the building, right along here, any of you who, it certainly will not be the same, but any of you, the experience we wanted to be similar, that anybody who's been on the second floor at the Scott, and you're kind of inside and on that second floor and you look out and it's really nice on the outside where there's an indoor-outdoor experience. And so that's the same feel we wanted out front here. Again, extremely different. You don't have a pool, you don't have anything, but there'll be a seating area, there'll be music both on the inside, outside. Why don't we go to the next one? So the building is named after my daughter, and so some of you have heard this story. And so my son came to me, and excuse my language, he was pissed. He's like, how do you name the building after your daughter? And so what we did is we created CJ's Lounge, which is where you guys are sitting. And I explained to him we couldn't name the building after him because we share a name. And so my son was super excited. We named the lounge after him, and then he came back to me and said, I need naming rights fees. 12-year-old Brooke. And then he came back a year later and said, I'll give you the naming rights fees, but I want to put a vending machine in the building, and all the profits are mine. So he's already thinking about being in development. And so we're extremely proud of CJ's Lounge. So this wall right here will be this wall. Here, again, we'll have a mural. All the muralists that we're doing, we're going to use are from the neighborhood. And the thought is again, how do you feel authentic without appropriating? And so how do we do it in a way that really plays up the work that we're doing? Our interior designer is from Studio BB, is Bricky Walker. I think she does an amazing job. Again, we worked with her in the past at the Scott, and we're really excited about what she's proposed. So one of the things that, again, you know, how do you do things that are fresh? And you can't really tell from here, but the brick that we're using very much speaks to the culture of the people who are in this neighborhood. And so we try to have touches that, again, are reflective of what's here without appropriating what is here. We're extremely excited about the work. You'll see that this will actually also be a game room. So we'll have a pool table as well as a ping pong table. There'll be places for people to congregate and to hang out. Why don't we go to the next one? And this is a view of what one of our units will look like. So we have studios, we have 1 bedrooms, and we have 2 bedrooms. 20% of our units are at 80% AMI. I don't call those affordable because the majority of our city is at 60% AMI. So it seems offensive to call those affordable. We like to say rent restricted, but 20% of our units will be rent restricted, and we're really proud of the work that we have done and that we're doing. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions that you all have before we go into it.
And that's a wrap for Flux City Weekly episode 8. Thanks for chiming in. And I'm hoping that you found some value in what we're sharing with you via these episodes. Enough to hopefully like, subscribe, share this content, and more importantly, come back and continue to listen to me ramble, as I'm hoping to ultimately motivate you. If you're a developer, if you're somebody who is aspiring to be a developer, more specifically, I want you to see me as something that you can strive for in better ways. I want you to say, you know what, if that guy can do it, I can do it too. I know I can accomplish what he's doing. I know I have an opportunity to take on projects like what he's working on or bigger, right? I want you to be motivated, and I want you to see yourself in me enough to be able to take those chances and go for those bigger opportunities, right? Don't play it safe anymore. It's time for you to really give yourself a real opportunity to build your portfolio in ways that you might not have ever imagined you'd be able to accomplish. But once again, I am living proof that those types of opportunities and these types of level ups are here for you. And as long as you grind and as long as you execute, that is something that you can achieve. You can achieve greater with regard to your real estate ambitions. And single family is cool, but think bigger. I want you to think bigger. And so with that being said, Thanks again for chiming in, and I am hoping to see you again.